Welcome to Inside Sim Racing, episode 41. I'm Jessica Lopez.
Darren Ganji here.
And I hope you guys had a great week of racing out there. How did you hold up?
Pretty good, actually. I had a big slump going, and I finally put together a win in iRacing last week.
Finally.
Finally, yeah. Long time coming. First win in 2009, so pretty proud of that. In the solstice, but at least I got one.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This week, or on today's episode, we have a special on drifting by Sean. So all of you sideways drivers out there, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and we know it's not really sim racing, but it's definitely got a huge community, huge following. There's R Factor, Live for Speed community doing it, so got a cool little segment on that.
And you have your segment on sim racing rigs.
Yes, indeed. The Obutto.
Obutto.
Guess I had been mispronouncing the name of that. It's not Obutto for all of you out there. It's Obutto. And got a piece on that rig, and also do-it-yourself rig.
Right, for all you do-it-yourselfers.
Yep. Actually, we've got a few. Actually, got some viewers sim rigs that have been sent to us, and we're going to share those with you guys too.
And Sean has another great installment of his tech tips for you guys out there.
With Andrea's actually back for that, and they're going to be doing some training on etiquette and some stuff like that. So cool tech tips this week.
And we have our top stories, of course, which Darren is here to join me. But before we get into the top stories, we have a contest winners to announce from episode 40.
Yes, indeed. Copy of Race Pro to give away here.
And the lucky winner for Race Pro is WD Tiger. Congratulations.
And he's a subscriber. Thanks for subscribing to our channel, and we'll get you out a copy of this copy of Race Pro, as a matter of fact.
And we also have the two winners for the Dodge Challenger, which we have Manhack and Diablo 11.
By the way, the answer to that was Simbin/Atari, or did you say that?
I don't think none of us said it.
We didn't say it. Simbin and Atari was the answer to that question. They had to post it on our YouTube channel, so sorry for backtracking there. So what do we got? Winner of the Challenger?
Yeah.
Winners of the Challenger?
Manhack and Diablo 11.
Manhack. And then the winners of the Charger were Addy 711 and Alien Hunter 32. So congratulations, guys. Thanks for participating in our little competition there. We're going to get you out your codes. We'll just email you your codes there and confirm that you got them.
And speaking of Simbin,
lots of news, Simbin coming out.
They've announced, well, for their game Race Pro on the Xbox 360, they've announced a patch that has been released for that.
Big patch. Lots of things that they addressed and fixed, and some things I don't think got fixed. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the different versions all over the world or what, but I think there's still some issues that still exist, and they're looking for some feedback.
They are looking for some feedback for all the admin users.
Yeah, all the forum admins and stuff like that, trying to get feedback from all your different communities. So, all you Race Pro owners all out there, Simbin wants to continue to make it better and support it. So, give your feedback and let's help them make it better.
And Simbin also has announced the release of Race On, which is a game for the PC. Yep. It will be released sometime before the end of 2009.
Yes, indeed. Another expansion to, God, there's so many race names here. This was Race 07 expansion. It's got STCC, a bunch of new cars, American tracks, kind of like a Race Pro version for the PC. So that's going to be out this year. And also, they got a free game coming out, or free Volvo. Yeah. They're going to be giving away on the PC too. They got a partnership with Volvo happening, so that'll be up soon.
And over at iRacing,
Road Atlanta, new track, just came out. Though we were just mentioning week 13 was kind of like the in-between week. Mm-hmm. New season just started up, so all of you out there interested in iRacing, hopefully by the time this airs, actually maybe week 2 by then. But yeah, Road Atlanta's out now, and
for you iRacing drivers, yeah, there's a website. It's called iRacersResource.com, and there you can post and download your setups for your vehicles.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got some setups there myself in preparation for Season 2, so great place to go.
And the mod of the week is the Corvette C6R.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, some great friends of the show, Bob Russell and Sean Purdy, put that car together and did a great job on it. You can get it at teamplayers-virtualgarage.com and rfactorcentral.com, as a matter of fact.
And here at SRT, we'd like to give a shout out to Team Twister, running in the FSR World Championships.
Yeah, they're doing a great job flying our logos and colors.
Flying in the SRT colors.
Got some wins they put together this season so far, so great job, guys. Thanks for supporting the show. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do, and you can head on over to twister-racing.net to check that out.
Yep.
And we're going to head on over to commercial break. I'd like to thank Darren for joining me on the top stories.
My pleasure, as always.
When we return, we have our special on drifting.
Getting a little sideways.
Getting a little sideways.
This is Cole Little asking you to stop by the brand new SRT store. They have everything you could want as a sim racer right there in one place. They have wheels, pedals, shifters, and more. I'm talking about the latest sims, even Race Pro. Sim pods, video cards, they got it all. Just go to InsideSimRacing.tv, click on the store button or on the banner. And the best thing of all is every purchase helps keep SRT on the air. So don't be a Dario Gangini. Go to the SRT store, get your gear, and be cool.
Celebrity voice impersonated.
Drifting is an auto sport that takes car control to new levels. It has existed for over 30 years, with most of its roots coming to us from Japan. While racing has always put focus on the fastest way around the track, drifting has taken racing to an art form. Drivers will intentionally oversteer their cars, creating massive loss of traction to the rear wheels in order to go through corners sideways at maximum speeds, often creating lots of tire smoke. In competition, drivers are judged based on line, angle, speed, and show factor. The line you take through the corners must be correct. Angle is just how far sideways you are able to slide the car. Speed is how fast you are able to make the corner. And show factor, just how much smoke did you lay down, how far did you hang it out and then gather it back in, and how close did you get to the wall. All of this causing crowd reaction and multiplying the points. From there are all sorts of variations of drifting, from overtaking battles to lead and follow to tandem drifting. All of it done with crowd wow factor and car control done as a form of beauty as job number one. For those of you looking to get into drifting, it starts with car setup. There is no magic setup except that ultimately the cars are set up for racing and gaining maximum grip and favoring rear-wheel driven cars. Typically, drift cars will run very stiff springs and shocks and run the car as low to the ground as possible without rubbing. Often aggressive front camber is used to maximize front grip and enhance rear end slip. Same is true of tire selection. With looking for maximum grip at the front, you will want good grip at the rear to make the car savable. However, sliding the rear is the name of the game. In sim racing, you will want to remove an auto clutch or auto shifting and all other driving aids because they will rob the car's ability to drift. There are many techniques used in drifting. Many of them you've been using as a sim racer all along, so let's start with those methods. Power oversteer. When drifting into a corner at moderate speeds, a slight lift of the gas, a turn of the wheel, and then slamming the throttle back down will often cause oversteer. Stay in the gas and let the rear end swing around using throttle to countersteer to guide the car through the corner. This is classic drifting. Another common method is familiar to all the rally drivers out there, and that is to use the emergency brake. If going into a corner you were to pull the e-brake, it would cause the rear wheels to lock up momentarily. That is all it takes to send the rear end swinging around, then using throttle and countersteering out of the corner with control. With the auto clutch turned off, in most sims downshifting early will cause the rear ends to skip as you engage the lower gear. Usually we blip the throttle to prevent this. However, in drifting, we use a method to shift lock and cause the rear end to turn. Another method is the braking drift, using a lot of brakes into the corner allowing transfer to the front and then slamming on the gas causing the rear wheels to begin to slide. Clutch kicking is another way to break the car loose. While drifting, you can push in the clutch, rev up the engine a little, and then pop the clutch back out, allowing it to swing the car a little more when it lunges the wheels. There are other ways to induce drifting, such as penduluming the car by steering both left and right, swerving the car into a drift. And since wow factor is always a part of drifting, why not run the wheels right off the track, allowing the loss of traction from the grass or dirt to slide the car. If it allows you to swing the car, burn up the tires, go through the corners sideways and wow the crowd, then it's drifting. In sim racing, drifting has its own community within the regular sim racing world, with leagues and teams taking part in almost every sim made, both PC and console. Starting off in the PC world, you would have Live for Speed. The sim's physics immediately translated well into drifting. The cars are included very much resemble the same model used in real-life drifting. Anyone could go onto a Live for Speed multiplayer lobby and find multiple servers with guys testing out their drifting skills. In the world of R Factor, you have few different mods out there specifically built with drifting in mind. The first one came as a present from ISI, the makers of R Factor with Drift Revolution. It comes with a few cool cars to get you started. Then there's the JDM Drift Cars by the Oversteer mod team. This one comes with an entire selection of common drifting cars with a ton of paint jobs. Going online, you will find a few race rooms running both of these mods. Another PC sim that comes to mind is also available on the console, and that's Grid. Grid actually has a whole section of the game devoted to drifting with many different variations of it. You are actually scored for putting multiple drifts together and making the crowd go crazy. Drifting is just as big on the console sims as well. Gran Turismo and Forza both have drifting going on, as well as most of the latest Need for Speed sims. If you comb through the forums or the communities of your favorite sim, you are going to find race rooms and competitions going on with drifting.
Alright guys, I'm back here with Sean.
Hey everybody.
Hope everyone enjoyed the drifting special as much as I did.
Yeah, it was fun to do, and I love drifting, and one of the reasons is, just like real life racing, it's high precision, but it's done in just such an artistic manner.
Done very beautifully.
Yeah.
And next up, we have your segment on tech tips.
Yeah, actually it's mine and Andrea's. You guys all might remember Andrea and the whole Project Sim Racer. Well, she's a newbie or beginner sim racer. We now have her in iRacing, and she's moving up the ladder, and it's just been great watching her growth, but it reminds us what it's like to be a beginner, and so that kind of takes us to this video.
This is Sim Racing Etiquette. Check it out.
Tech Tips. Sim Racing Etiquette by Sean Cole.
Darren and I have been doing this for quite some time, and I gotta tell you, sometimes we take for granted just how hard it can be to start out in sim racing. There are a lot of hurdles to jump over just to get comfortable, get acquainted with the online world, and get started. So, we have our Project Sim Racer and our tech tips. We figured we'd combine them all together for one special segment. So obviously, we've got Andrea on the show today. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Sean. Hi, everybody out there.
And just to catch people up, how long have you been sim racing?
6 months now.
6 months. And that started off with some Live for Speed driver training school. You did some hot lapping, some Richard Burns rally, and then we figured it was time to throw you in deep into the deep end, ORR2, the off-road trucks, running against some pretty stout competition. What was it like going from offline or solo racing in Richard Burns to online racing?
Nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
intimidating, exciting.
All right.
Waiting for the challenge, adrenaline, pumping, yeah.
Right on.
Anxious.
Well, I'm going to kind of focus on the word intimidating there, and I think that's one of those hurdle words. And what was it? Was it the competition itself? Was it the trucks? Was it R Factor? What was intimidating about it?
The trucks themselves,
Right.
jumping into a new race, being surrounded by guys, actually entering into a race.
Right.
Trucks are totally different from regular race cars, and I was pretty intimidated by that, let alone.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I think another thing that's really interesting for people when they first started racing is the word etiquette. You'll hear it all the time. And the first step for etiquette to me is track awareness. Being able to know where the other trucks are, knowing your way to get from the garages out on the track, how to pull onto the track safely. These areas, how was your comfort level on that?
At first, very shaky,
Yeah,
but I had a lot of guidance.
right,
And Darren helped me out a lot.
right,
Because I think on my own, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it.
right,
Right, because it's not as self-explanatory as, you'd like it to be.
right,
So without that certain guidance, I think you're going to be pretty stumped.
right. So like a white flag, when you first saw the white flag, did
Didn't
you
know what that was.
No.
No. And it's probably simple to you guys. You guys probably knew what,
Right.
not me. No.
But Darren told you the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not everybody has a Darren, so I put this little piece together on etiquette, so check this out.
When going online and racing with the world, how you conduct yourself will go a long way in your racing career. Racing within the rules of the league or the race room that you are in is the first step in being a productive part of the community. Track awareness is an important part of that, and it has several aspects of its own. You must know the track before you go online and race against others. This starts off in the garage. In ARCA, for example, in practice you might start off in the garages in the rear and have to wind your way to pit lane. Not knowing your way around might cause a disqualification and end your day right there. Knowing the track before you get there extends to on the track as well. You shouldn't go online until you've driven the track and know your way in and out of the pits. To be really good, you should already be comfortable driving the track alone and happy with your setup. Once you are ready to be online against others, knowing where you are on the track in relation to others is important too. You don't want to pull off pit lane right in front of other cars at full speed. They will have no way of avoid you and cause a wreck. Not a good way to make friends your first day out. Most sims have a standing screen that will allow you to see how many seconds ahead or behind a car is from you. Other sims have a track map or a bar that shows you the car's placement on the track, and lastly, using your eyes, looking left and right up the track to see oncoming cars, using your mirrors to see cars coming from behind. If you are slower and coming onto the track, stay as far off the track as possible until other cars clear you. Flags are often waved or shown to you in sim racing. These are the same flags that are seen in real-life racing and must be acknowledged or a penalty is possible. The basics go like this. The green flag means go. Sometimes it's a light, but green means go. The yellow flag means caution. In oval racing, this means the pace car will slow the field down to pace speeds. In road racing, a caution can either be a full course, like the oval version, or local yellow, meaning take caution and no passing in that certain area. The red flag means stop, and it is rarely seen in sim racing. However, the red light can be used to show closed pits that can't be entered, a closed track at the end of pit lane, or as the lights used to start the race. The blue flag is used to notify you of a leader car coming upon you. If you are lapped down or coming onto a hot track, it is telling you to let the faster cars go by. Ignoring a blue flag can often result in a penalty during a race. The black flag is telling you that you have done something wrong. It is telling you to go into the pits and either do a drive-by down pit lane or to pull into your pits for a penalty. You will usually have only 3 laps to honor the black flag without disqualification. And lastly, the checkered flag, signifying the end of the race. Another often ignored part of sim racing etiquette is chat. When online during practice, it is fairly normal for people to have chat conversations. However, chat while people are driving can be distracting. iRacing also has in-game vocal chat. It also has the ability to turn it on or off while driving, leaving it to each individual driver to determine if it is distracting for them or not. The bottom line in racing online is people are there to have a good time. Leagues will have strict rules to follow, but usually make them fairly easy to find upon joining the league. There are no rules when it comes to pickup racing, but being smart and courteous will go a long way.
So your first race out there in the trucks, how'd you do?
Pretty bad.
What do you mean?
Well, I went out there, practiced, qualified, got out there, and chickened out.
Chickened out. Didn't even make the start of the race?
Didn't even do that.
Well, you know what? I understand that. We put you in pretty deep, and at least you were there. What about the second race? You did show up for the next race. How'd you do?
I did, actually. Started it and actually got bumped off.
Really?
I got bumped off, not even like, wow, not even
during the race.
Right.
Right.
From the get-go. Yeah.
Right. And why do you think you got knocked off?
I wasn't aggressive enough. I
Right.
was just too fixated and focused on the fact that I was worried about what the other guy was going to do to the other guy.
Right.
You know, out there the first time on the track, you know, first time I chickened out.
Right.
Then I was intimidated, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, again, you know, I think that we are partially to blame. In retrospect, we put you in a difficult situation. We gave you very, very high horsepower trucks. We put you against some of the best of the best. I mean, there were Frosty St. Clair, Ilko was there, Darren, I mean, there was a lot of fast drivers there, and that's a lot for anybody. And, in fact, this little piece might show you at home how you should start out in sim racing.
The beautiful thing about sim racing is the ability to drive any car on any track. This unfortunately is not always a good thing. We all want to jump right in and drive Formula 1 cars at Monza or a Cup car at Charlotte, but these cars require the highest levels of skill. When getting started, picking cars that are good handling and lower on horsepower will allow you more time to judge what is going on the track. It is easier to see the corner, hit your brake marks, and turn in at lower speeds. When getting started in sim racing, treat it like real life. Get into the smaller horsepowered cars and learn the tracks and car handling, and then over time try out harder cars. Many people go right to the monster horsepower beasts and find themselves doing donuts out of all the corners, or find it too hard to stay on the track. The same thing goes for the tracks. I would never recommend a long or difficult circuit as a starting point. Try out smaller tracks or ones with a smaller loop. The fewer corners to learn, the faster you're going to learn it.
So after running in those badass trucks, what was next for you?
iRacing.
iRacing. And have you've been over there for a while? Have you been practicing mostly or racing? What are you doing?
Practicing and racing.
Yeah.
Yep, got 51
time trials.
Time trials,
I looked
right.
you up and found out 51 time trials, 4 road races, 3 oval races, all in like 3 weeks' time. So you've been doing a lot of iRacing.
I've been pretty busy there.
And as I mentioned earlier, picking the right car to start off with on the lower level. You've been obviously in the Legend and the Solstice, the ground level for iRacing.
Right.
Are you finding those cars easier to deal with in a pack or out on the track with others than the trucks were?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I actually would have wished I would have started iRacing before I had done the trucks.
That probably would have been a good idea for us to put you in iRacing before the trucks. All right. Well, what about replays? Have you been watching replays?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah?
I always make it a point to do that.
And do you use them to gain time?
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing any other kind of tricks to find time on the track?
Actually, Darren.
Yeah?
He shows. Yeah, he'll show me certain pinpoints going through the whole track with me.
Right.
What to do, what not. You know, where to go, how to stop, how to go fast on this. Certain,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And so how's your overall iRacing experience been so far?
Overwhelming.
Yeah?
Yeah. I love it.
And obviously a lot of racing, so you're
Oh,
quite
yeah.
addicted, I'm guessing.
Pretty much.
All right. Are you still intimidated?
Not as much.
Not as much.
No.
All right. And season 2 is about to begin. Are you going to be racing in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I will be there.
Do you know what you're going to race?
Part of the spec.
The Spec Ford?
Right, spec Ford.
So you mentioned the Spec Ford. Obviously, that means you've graduated and you're going to get that D license. I think you're getting it in an oval as well.
I am.
So you're well on your path. Well, to make it to that next step, that next level in sim racing, and I don't mean licensing, I just mean that next level, what do you think you have to accomplish to move forward?
Just try to be a little bit more confident.
Right.
Right. Not be so afraid to take that next step or that, you know, aggression's more important.
All right,
too.
get out there and mix it up a little more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think that's well said. All right, well, you know, for anybody out there, it can be intimidating. You got to get out there. Practice makes perfect. 51 time trials. I mean, that's a testament to how you get ready for sim racing. And that does it for Tech Tips.
Hope that these tech tip segments that we're putting together for you guys are helping to enhance your sim racing careers out there.
That's the whole point of doing them, and this one goes all the way to the beginner, so hopefully it helps.
And if you have any suggestions on any future tech tips or any questions,
Contact me at Sean
Email
at
Sean.
InsideSimRacing.tv.
that's right. Next up, we're going to show you Darren's segment on sim rigs for under $1,000, and he's actually going to do a full-blown review on the sim rig that Andrea was using, the Obutto.
You said butt. I was always calling it Obutto, but I think it is Obutto. So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited about this whole segment that Darren's doing, all the sim rigs. It's one of my favorite things in sim racing.
Well, let's check it out.
All right.
All right, well, here we are with part 2 of our segment on sim rigs for under $1,000. Darren Ganji here with good buddy Sean Cole. And sitting here with the Obutto. Man, mispronounced that. So it's Obutto Ozone Gaming Cockpit. And I'd like to thank Chris Dunnigan for sending this to us. Is it Chris Dunnigan? Yes, Chris Dunnigan for sending us this rig from Obutto. And manufactured in China. And we'll just talk about the shipping now. They ship it pretty much all over the world.
Yeah, and they're shipping out of Seattle, so
Yep.
you know,
Seattle,
shipping
Washington.
rates or time will be from Seattle.
Yeah. Before we get to that, though, we're going to get to some of our DIY rigs.
Right.
Last segment we mentioned Sean's Star Mazda chassis.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to just hand it over to Sean, and he's going to tell you guys a little bit about that.
Yeah, and even though it wasn't a do-it-yourself where I didn't build the frame myself, it was a do-it-yourself project. And what made us bring it back up for today's show was an email I had gotten from a viewer who wanted to know how I had got it. And, you know, I told the story in that video about working at a race school, but I told him, you know, old racers, race teams, they crash a car, that's junk to them. You know,
Yep.
one man's junk is another man's treasure. You know, I told him, just call teams, call shops.
Yeah, bet frame like that's worthless. They can't really
Exactly.
use it again. So
It's
that's
junk.
what yours was, right?
Yeah, mine was junk. And so he called around, and, you know, and I told him, tell him what you're going to do with it, because they might even think it's cool and throw in some extra stuff. Anyway, long story short, he was able to get a Formula Ford, nice tubular chassis, got his wheel all mounted into it, and, you know, that's where the DIY part comes in. It doesn't just bolt in this case. You got to do a little customization.
Yep. So now, speaking of his video, if you go down right here on YouTube, in our video responses, we've done a response with Sean's SimPod video. So you can go ahead and check that out. Or if you want to watch it on Blip TV, go to blip.tv/file/694-100, and you can get to it by there. So next up, we have a sim rig, or another DIY sim rig that a guy named Jeffrey Strong had emailed us about. and it's plans to build the sim rig. Looks familiar, doesn't it, Sean?
Yeah, it does. I have seen this design for many, many years. And
the way you can get the plans to build this rig is if you go to thewayiplay.com, which is a great site that has a lot of do-it-yourself rigs or bought rigs that people have put together, and they've got pictures of their rigs there.
Right.
So you can go there to check that out. But the plans, the way you can get the plans, it's called the MicroSim MK2 Race Base.
Right.
And you go there on The Way I Play, just do a search for that on their site, and you can get the plans for this.
So what does that
racing
cost?
sim. Free.
Free.
You got to register it for. You got to register for those plans though.
Right.
And then you can get them, and it tells you what materials you need and all that stuff, and you're just basically registering to say that you're not going to use it for commercial use. You're not going to sell these.
Right. And don't they have like hardware stuff, so you can buy the hardware kits, make it super easy on yourself.
Yep, $28.95 for the all the hardwares and fasteners. That's a kit that's available. I believe Jeffrey's selling that, and it's like $6 in shipping here in the U.S. So cool deal.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
So again, go to thewayiplay.com. Shout out to those guys over there. Cool site, and that's again thanks to Jeffrey Strong for sending us all that info, and I had actually pointed him to The Way I Play to go set that up. So
Very
cool deal.
And it's cool because all the do-it-yourself rigs are totally customizable. I mean, wherever you want something, you just bolt it on and put it there.
Yep, exactly. So next up, we're going to talk about the Obutto, but we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
All right, welcome back to our segment here on sim racing rigs for under $1,000. And again, like we mentioned, we're here with the Obutto Ozone Gaming Cockpit. And again, I'd like to thank Chris Dunnigan for hooking us up with this. And pretty cool rig. And oh, by the way, before we get on with this, next up on this segment, or next episode, we're going to do the play seat evolution.
Yep. We got a lot more piling up, don't we?
Yeah, we do. A few companies have got a hold of us since we started this. So we're going to have the Gamer Racer, Vision Racer, Bob Earl Cockpit. So this is going to be an ongoing segment.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And some more DIY rigs. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have a DIY here at the end of the segment that we're going to show you that a guy sent. It's really awesome. And if you want to send in your DIY rig, email us at darren@insidesimracing.tv, and maybe we'll put some pictures of your rig here on the show.
Yeah, keep them coming. We've seen a bunch of cool rider rigs.
Oh, man, awesome rigs. Yeah. So let's talk about the Obutto. Obutto Ozone Gaming Cockpit. Probably one of the most affordable rigs on the market, huh, Sean?
It definitely is, and there's a lot to this package, and, well, you saw it firsthand. Put it together.
Yep, did another one of my assembly videos here, and we're just going to kick things off by rolling that assembly video.
Good call.
Maybe I was...
Well, looked like it only took about a minute and a half to put that one together.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit quicker than the TSW video. As you saw, less parts, but not as sturdy.
Yeah.
Not as sturdy as the TSW. Now we can start comparing them as we're doing this.
Sure.
This is definitely not as sturdy as the TSW rig. I mean, it's wobbling. As you can see, we have some some tie downs here, just basically zip ties that we've kind of jerry rigged. But this is now Andrea Lopez's rig. She's we got some footage of her driving this, but she's been really putting it through its paces, and I've been testing it out with her as well. And Sean's put some miles on it. And it's a good rig. It's definitely a great budget rig.
Yeah, it is, and it's very cozy. So when you say budget, you wouldn't know it with how comfortable it is.
Yep. So why don't we go over everything that this is all about?
All right.
Start about the tubing. It's a carbon steel frame, 3.2 centimeter diameter tubing.
Right. Got this kind of flat blackish finish to it.
Yeah, and as you saw in the video, it all kind of just slips together with these big bolts. These what are these called, Sean? With these plastic
knobs.
Yeah, just a regular knob. Yeah, just a plastic knob.
Sim racing term.
Yeah, but it goes together with these knobs really simply. Most of it, as you saw, the chair bolted in, but. Pretty solid design.
Yeah, and then you got other things like right here, you got this adjustable shifter mount, which you could put on either side.
Right.
And, I wouldn't leave it moving like this. You can tighten it down, but so you can get in and out. Makes it a little easier.
Right, and let's talk about this. Since we talk about trays, why don't we talk about the keyboard and mouse tray?
That's dig this one.
Yeah, that's really cool, which would be cool for first-person shooters, too.
Yeah,
For you guys that are into first-person shooting. They call this the gaming cockpit, so...
Yeah.
It's actually a cool feature where you can slide that, and this has got like a mouse pad cover on it, which was really cool. You'll see me like kind of tripping out on it in my assembly video, and that's why it's
the whole thing is
surface. That whole surface is mouse pad. So that's really cool.
And then this is the big surprise for me, especially at the money. But it's got not only an adjustable seat in reclining, which I don't even have that on my rig, but you can also adjust the seat back and forth. So I mean, that's good adjustability for a rig of this price.
Yeah, and I'm 6'5". And I fit in that rig, no problem.
Yeah, I'm 5'5", and it works for me. I'm a little stretched out, but it works.
Yeah, it works. Definitely works. So, some other features. Let's talk about the movable wheel deck here. This goes up and down, as you can see, and it's mounted at an angle, so you can go from as low as that you see there up to a bit higher. That's probably about max. But you have it low, and the keyboard tray doesn't work because you have no room to move it. And then again, you use those knobs, those plastic knobs, to adjust there. So that's that. And then we also have the adjustable monitor stand that goes up and down here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess with that monitor now. But same thing, knobs. This goes up and down. This is not as stable. We mentioned about the TSW rig on the last episode about we put a 29-inch monitor. There's no way this would hold that.
No, and even for that, you use these zip ties to hold that one.
Yeah,
down.
actually, I got a little Velcro under here with this zip tie. What I'm actually going to end up doing, one of my complaints about this rig is that this monitor's a little bit far for the field of view. That's been a big topic recently, is field of view. And we're going to actually do a piece on that here on the show pretty soon. But I want that monitor right up in my face. And this really doesn't allow that. So actually what I'm going to do here once we're done with this segment is I'm going to mount a little bar that sticks out, and I'm going to mount the monitor on here that's going to basically put the monitor about right here.
That'd be cool.
So for me being 6'5", I get pushed back, and my field of view is way out. And this is only, I think, about a 17-inch LCD, so it's pretty small. We definitely need a bigger one.
Yeah. But again, we had to attach it just because of...
Yeah, without mounting it. Yeah, without mounting it or putting it dead center on this.
Right.
I'd be a little shaky putting my $200, $300 monitor on this thing.
Speaking of zip ties, what do we got going on here?
We got the speakers mounted here, just a little jerry rig, but it was kind of cool actually to have this piping to be able to do stuff like that. We got speakers just mounted to it, but
we almost left this out. We've got the rubber covering on this, which actually does, we have nothing holding these pedals down.
These pedals are not mounted in any way, not hard mounted. And speaking of which, we've got to talk about the wheel being mounted, but they just kind of wedged in there perfectly. By the way, we're using the Porsche Carrera wheel and pedal set. Also had the turbo wheel on it. We also have the G25. Compatible with pretty much anything. We've hard mounted the wheel like we always do. We like to, use...
Go right to the bolts.
Yeah.
Clamps are kind of weak.
Yeah, matter of fact, to clamp a Porsche wheel on it, you need to put a block under here because it's got a little lip on this deck.
Yeah.
So it doesn't allow you to do it. So what else we got here? Pretty much that covered everything.
I think we covered shipping already.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, good rig. It's a little wiggly. I think we mentioned that, but at the price, it's hard to find rigs less than this, and there's a lot here.
Yeah, and you know what might be cool with this is just take this monitor stand off put your monitor on a table and then just slide right up underneath the table, and that would make your monitor closer and more solid, because I don't like my monitor moving, while I'm driving, and you guys might be able to see that thing shaking.
Well, and for that matter, if you're using it with like your console and you're putting it up in front of the television, you might remove this altogether.
Yeah, but hey, $259 for the rig, plus an extra $75 to $95 here in the States for shipping, and then they're trying to ship everywhere worldwide. But man, it's a great starter rig. I mean, if I was starting out and I needed a rig, I would definitely be looking at this one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So I think that, pros and cons?
The wiggle on the cons.
Let's start with the cons.
Yeah.
Wiggle, the monitor's a little bit too far, monitor deck's a little bit too far away.
Right.
And a little too flimsy for anything, I'd say, above a 20-inch monitor.
Right. The deck did have this, so that you might have to adapt. I mean, usually I'm accustomed to something about that thick, like a piece of wood of some sort or something. On the pros list, though, I mean, we've got comfort.
Comfortable seat.
Adjustability.
Ease of assembly. Man, that thing is such a piece of cake to assembly.
Yeah.
Basic instructions that it comes with.
Yeah. Lots of extras.
Price. Cost is just amazing.
Yeah.
Lots of extras. Yeah, one thing I saw on a forum was that gets a little flimsy after a lot of use.
Yeah, and even right now, I mean, this is brand new, and it's got some flims, and I'm sure that if you accidentally sat on it, it probably wouldn't fare very well, but take care of your stuff. I think it'll be all right. And it's just for the keyboard on the side.
Yeah. So I think that about does it.
Yeah.
I think that, it's a great rig. Yeah. Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up. Thanks, Obutto.
Yeah, thanks, Obutto. Darren Ganji, Shanko. Oh, real quick, we got a sim rig we're going to show you here.
Yeah. Cool.
And I'd like to thank our viewer for sending this in. I'm going to put his name, and we're going to just run these pictures really quick. Cool. Anyway, Darren and Sean, we're out of here.
All right.
And here's a rig submitted by viewer Danny Roberts, who built this with some buddies. And believe it or not, this thing's built with wood. Obviously, Danny's a big Ferrari fan, and this rig features a 38-inch monitor, a BKA 300 butt kicker, Recaro seat with 5-point harness. Again, I'd like to thank Danny Roberts for sending this in. If you'd like your rig featured here on the show, email us at darren@InsideSimRacing.tv.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for episode 41. Thank you for joining us.
Wait, we got one more thing to attend to. We made a little update. It was an email from a viewer who asked us to itemize or better describe our shows, put a link to all the things that we showed or talked about in the show. So we should have that in this description. That's on YouTube.
YouTube, under description, or on our website, which is InsideSimRacing.tv.
Yeah.
You can look up all the hot links for everything that we've mentioned.
Get your hot links.
Get your hot links here. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Like I said, we're going to have a race recap following the end of the show for LFS Kart League, running Live for Speed.
Yep, cool
So
video.
check out the race recap, and we'll see you guys next time.
The Grand Prix of Japan Round 1 took place on the Roval of Kyoto National Reverse. 22 racers started in Round 1, with Randy Van Buren of Formula Racing Organization starting from the first position. In the qualifying session, he was over 1 second faster than the second-place qualifier Andrev Mosca of X-Fusion Racing. Against all expectations, there were no big incidents in the starting phase. Randy Van Buren used his pole position very well and captured a flag-to-flag victory in the sprint race. In the feature race, Jack Sedgwick and Gladys Gusenas collided in Turn 1 after the rolling start. Both racers could continue the race. Both did not lose much time because on lap 4, Nathan Lamoth flipped his car and caused a full course yellow. After the accident and the safety car period, Gladys Gusenas and Jonathan Picard should later get a 45-second penalty each for overtaking during the safety car period. Many racers used the caution to pit in, including Rudy Van Buren. Andrev Mosca, who was in second position when the caution came out, took the lead because of Rudy Van Buren's strategy and restarted the race after 5 caution laps as first. He stayed in first position until his pit stop on lap 22. Van Buren won also the second race of the day. The battle for second position between Andrev Mosca and James Barrington ended with a photo finish. The finish photo showed Mosca leading on the line, but it was decided to follow the results as given by Live for Speed software and give it a tie. Jack McIntyre and Jack Sedgwick claimed positions 4 and 5. In the championship, Randy Van Buren already has a 17-point lead over Andrev Mosca and Jack McIntyre. Jack Sedgwick and Timo Heinonen are both on 5th with 26 points behind the leader. The Grand Prix West Hill took place on May 2nd on West Hill International Reverse. You can check out LFS Kart by New Dimension Racing. Information at newdimensionracing.synthesite.com.